Arlene Lance, who is a former SWE ASU member and a sourcing manager at Microsoft. Arlene, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So, yeah, hi everyone. I'm Arlene. I graduated from ASU 2017, and I had a couple different jobs after. I was at Texas Instruments for a little bit, Intel for a minute, and then I came over to Microsoft here uh, about 8 months ago now. So I've been on the sourcing team for devices. So basically all the products that you see on the screen right there, it doesn't include our cloud. That's a separate sourcing team. But I've been doing that for 8 months. I was on campus for about a month before everything went virtual. So I've spent most of my time at Microsoft kind of in this environment, which has had its own set of challenges, but it's been really great. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and learn a little bit more about you guys, hopefully answer some questions, any questions you guys might have. Yeah.
Thank you, Arlene. And thank you so much for helping me out today.
Yeah.
We in devices, we don't, it's not, it's a little bit different than university recruiting, where we have our own, engineers, we have our own supply chain planners going out to schools and trying to recruit trying to recruit talent that Microsoft generally doesn't usually doesn't go to. And that's sort of a devices initiative on diversity and inclusion, on making sure we get some of the best talent out there and not just focus on specific schools. So I'll start with the quick agenda. We'll go over this an information session. I'll try to make it quick. We've had a lot of events where we've gone over these same slides, and at the end, we can stop to see if anybody has any questions. After that, we'll go into a quick activity. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned what the activity was, so it's a surprise. Please try to have a elevator pitch ready. For this activity to be successful, we really need your participation. We kind of came up with this because not only is the person that's giving the elevator pitch receiving feedback, your fellow SWE members will also hear some of that feedback, get some pointers, and we also get to see who are the brave ones and who's interested in coming to Microsoft devices. And then after that, we'll have a Q&A. I'll try to speed up through the information session just because I want to give more time for the activity and more time for Q&A. But I'll go through it quick. Okay, it's this computer. So our mission at Microsoft is to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. So where does Microsoft Devices fit into this? Wow, there's a delay. Okay, so our mission in Devices is to build products that create and complete magical experiences to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. What this means to me is, we're, as an engineer, is working on these innovative and impactful projects that are helping out not only Microsoft in itself, but are also empowering our employees, empowering our communities, empowering our customers to achieve, their goals and to achieve what they've always wanted to, and even go beyond that. And also, Arlene, if you want to, step in at any point, feel free. We want to get your experience through everything, not just Microsoft, through ASU, and feel free to definitely. What am I thinking?
Interject.
I cannot speak today.
Okay.
So in devices, we believe that we believe we're the best expression of Microsoft because we deliver iconic experiences, and this combines the best of the software and the hardware side. The magical experiences that we talk about are how software and hardware come together to complete those magical experiences in the mission. The second one is we always want to grow the business by creating a fan base. And what that means to me is basically, having people be as excited as we are to build these products, to release these products. It's just, being in that space where, you've been working on this product for a year and it's so close to launching, it's so close to becoming real. And that excitement just grows and grows, and that's how we want our customers to feel whenever we're working on something new, on something innovative, on any work that we do as Microsoft. And the last one is lead the industry through innovation, technology, and great products. What you see in the third picture is the adaptive controller, and that kind of came out um, as a that came from a fix hack learn project that Microsoft employees came up with, and they were just focused on, they weren't focused on markets, they weren't focused on anything else. They were just really focused on creating these magical experiences for people who have disabilities.
Yeah, and I can go ahead and add something on the slide too. So I think that's actually one of the reasons why, I've had multiple different roles at different companies, but I think what feels different for me at Microsoft is that I'm really, really like proud to work here. And not just because it's a big name, but because they do stuff like this adaptive controller. So, they actually lost money on this project, or we lost money on this project, but they still, put design resources, sourcing resources, the whole 9 yards towards creating this product so that they could get this product to people with disabilities, and part of this inclusivity that Microsoft is all about. And even to go like a step further on top of that, they also enabled this controller to work with our competitors' products. So it really shows that they are here to really try and get the greatest products and possibilities and opportunities to as many people around the world as they possibly can. And I, kind of had that image of Microsoft before I joined, but then now being here, you really understand that they don't have to do these things, but they do. They, put their money where their mouth is. And I don't know if you guys have seen the news, like carbon negative by 2030, or we set really, really ambitious, lofty goals. And somehow we keep pulling it off. So I don't know, it's really cool and exciting, and you hear about it and you feel it every day. No matter what group you're in, you see it. People, the employees eat, sleep, and breathe this culture. Yeah.
100% agree. Yeah, sometimes those goals get ambitious, but it's a little bit of pain on the way, but when you reach that final destination, it's an awesome experience. So the next slide is a hardware journey, right? Microsoft started with software, but then our first hardware project was actually a mouse, the most simple mouse you can probably think of. We moved on to sorry about that. Moved on to Zune, which until I got to Microsoft a couple of years ago, I did not know it was a Microsoft product. I don't know if anybody actually picked Zune over the iPod, but we'll move past that. Moved on to Surface, and then progressed to Xbox One, and then the Windows Phone is one of those situations where we failed fast and failed forward. And then this we get to the really exciting part where Surface came in. You have Hub, you have Studio, you have Book, you have Laptop, and all that came from, where's my mouse? All that came from this Surface table, which is actually, that's where the idea of Surface came from. It's basically just a tabletop with touch capacity, and that's where like all the Surface line sort of originated from. Now you have headphones, you have the Duo, you have I think I don't have that slide. You have Neo, which is really cool. You have, I'm trying to think of what else. You have the Pro X, you have Go, you have other projects that can't be talked about, but it's so crazy that it came from just a tabletop. And you can actually, if you ever Microsoft intern at Microsoft, you can actually go into the lab. I don't know about right now, but you can go into the lab and see the original Surface table. Yeah, I think they should have came up with a better name, but that's why I never get into the market. So what does working at Microsoft look like? The first thing that you'll see in every conference room, you'll see in a lot of different, town halls, things like that, is the core principles. These are principles that basically allow us, to work together in a synergetic group and maintain that passion to deliver, great products to customers, allow us to work with each other. Understanding the big one is, be human. Understand that people make mistakes, that we got to work together. Another one is grab an oar. Be a part of the team when we need it. There are always going to be some circumstances that come up that we have to overcome, some problems. I don't know what it is, but we're going to make it there as a group, and we're gonna complete the project, and we're gonna have fun. Let's know the next part. Okay, let me play this video. I hope I added sound. Oh, it doesn't want to play. Oh. Okay, technical difficulties.
Made a video play through Zoom, or?
I was able to do this Friday. I'm not sure what's going on, but I can always show it later. Okay, so we'll skip the video. We'll move on to your place at Microsoft. As a mechanical engineer, that's blocking. As a mechanical engineer, you learn a lot of different subjects in school. So here are some of the different sort of disciplines or different subjects that you can apply or you can use at Microsoft. They're not mutually exclusive. Just because you're working on Surface doesn't mean you won't use 2 or 3 of these. I think that's one of the really cool things is when you intern at Microsoft, you can work in a big one is heat dissipation and working on heat sinks and things like that. You can also work on design. I've gotten the chance to work with Thomas Longo, who is the mechanical engineer who sort of created what we call the seat cover or the keyboard for Pro. If you ever gotten the chance to handle one, those sort of snap onto the housing with magnets. And the way that he designed it, it created this magical experience, and now everybody calls it Longo magnets. That's sort of, if you ever hear the term Longo magnets, it's from the engineer that designed the type cover for Pro. I'm not a mechanical engineer, so I don't have a lot of information into these, but just realize that you can be doing or applying a lot of this engineering knowledge that you're learning in school into real projects at Microsoft.
Yeah, or even a quick plug to the sourcing side too. I know that we've got a specific mechanicals team, and having that kind of background in school, it's not necessarily required. You can learn on the job or depending on other past job experience, but having the ME experience in school where you're familiar with a lot of the technology terms makes you very well suited for that, where you are then managing suppliers in the mechanical field, enclosures, things of that nature. And so it's just another way where that degree could be utilized at Microsoft too.
Yes, thank you so much, Arlene. Yeah, I've only been at Microsoft for 2 years, so if you could bring in more of that that knowledge from the sourcing side, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll go into that a little bit more in a future slide. Electrical engineering, you could do motherboard design, motherboard layout. You can help with system integration. You can help with RF and designing some antennas that are going into Surface products. You can go into certifications and what's the other one? Like FCC compliance, things like that. It's really cool. You get to name your own designs, so that's like a really good resume builder. Even as an intern, you can work on some of these new designs that haven't even been announced. That's electrical engineering. And then engineering and business management. This is where my my job falls under new product introduction. This is where Arlene falls under in sourcing engineering and dev PM. The first thing I like to point out in these slides is just because your major is electrical or mechanical or software doesn't mean that you'll end up with the role of electrical or mechanical engineer. I'm a product engineer with a EE background, but I get to use this knowledge every day to debug and do failure analysis on electrical subsystems, on anything that involves SoC, memory, displays, things like that. As long as there's an electrical communication there, my team is in charge of learning, debugging, and sometimes even breaking these designs. Eileen, do you have anything to say on the sourcing side?
Yeah, I guess kind of adding to what I just mentioned. So I didn't realize like truly how big the sourcing team was, which I guess was silly when I think about it now. But we have truly teams of, I think, I don't know, on average 5 to 10 per kind of category of any given program, and you do manage it, from start to finish. That throughout the whole life cycle, you're very engaged with engineers. You are a part of supplier selection. It's a very broad reaching, sourcing is very, very broad, but it gives you exposure to a lot of really cool programs, a lot of different positions, and if you are kind of not necessarily sure maybe what you want to do, is a great opportunity to get to know so many different cross-functional organizations, especially as, say, an intern in the sourcing group, and you just get so much exposure so quickly. So I think it's a very, very, very versatile, interesting role.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, and then we have some supply chain roles. Just in case anybody in the business school, definitely let them know that we're looking for supply chain. But I think that's all we need to say for that slide. So what does landing a job at Microsoft look like? You get to work on real world projects. You get a mentor and a buddy for the summer. You get to, I guess it's kind of repetitive, but you get to work on real projects. When I was an intern, I got to work on Xbox. There's a lot of interns that I see after the summer post on LinkedIn, that they worked on Surface Laptop, they work on Surface Pro X. So you're working on actually helping launch or helping design projects like Duo, like Pro X, and you're a part of making this project happen. So it's very valuable. It's a very valuable experience to have. You get to be a part of this amazing Microsoft community that's really, are examples of that growth mindset of failing fast and failing forward. And it's a learn it all attitude, not know it all attitude, and that's what I really love. You can always ask any questions. There are no dumb questions. People want to give you knowledge. Nobody's holding on to their knowledge. There are subject matter experts, the engineers that have been here a long time, but they always want to help you, learn more about their designs and how they fit into, what's the next generation of design or the current generation design. And the really cool thing about being an intern is you get a one-of-a-kind signature event. When I was an intern, they rented out Boeing, what do you call it? The Boeing Museum of Flight. They had chain smokers. I think one of the interns that was on our panel the other day got to see Pitbull at Gasworks Park. Just something very unique, very, very rewarding for interns to have at the end of the summer. It's changed. It definitely changed last year because of the COVID, but you always get a gift, which is a plus side.
I'm pretty sure they still got their like swag.
Yeah.
I think headphones this time or something. So
yeah,
they roll out the red carpet for the interns for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's a very fun event.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then these go back to some of the different some of the different core principles, some of the different examples of what recruiters and managers are kind of looking for in potential candidates. Number one is an interest in what we do, an interest in technology. The other one is being customer obsessed. Doing. I never know how to put this one, but just with every decision, with every design challenge that we have, keeping the customer at the front of it all. The third one is a desire to learn. Again, being a learn it all, not a know it all. And then being good communicators, and that's true across any internship or any interview that you might be looking for. So what do we start with? We start with having an interest in Microsoft, having an interest in technology, and being eager to, to work on some of the things that we do. This is slow. Second is being curious. What are you doing outside of class to grow your knowledge, to grow yourself personally? What are some of the things that you like to do on your free time? That's a question that I've heard some interns have. What do you like to do when you're not in school? What do you like to do when you're not at work? And that reflects on who you are as a person, and also like what are some of the, what is the passion that you're bringing to Microsoft? How are you sharing that with the people around you? Collaboration, working in a team. What working in a team, how do you communicate effectively, and how do you communicate through conflict and things like that? As you can tell, I'm speeding through these a little bit. What are some examples of leadership, right? Leadership isn't just a position on an executive board. Leadership is taking the initiative and meeting a goal, helping other people get to a goal. And you don't necessarily have to be an executive board member, but taking the initiative to solve a problem, to meet a goal, things like that. And then showing a desire to work at Microsoft, showing how you fit into the culture and how you exemplify our values will get you to Microsoft. Okay, so the last slide I have is, if you're interested in interning opportunities for Microsoft devices, please join the LinkedIn group. Here are so the job descriptions. I think that's what JD means. One last thing that I have is, please, when you join the group, introduce yourself in a post. We've had 2 out of 81 of our, how do you say it? We've had very few women post on the Devices ASU group. We definitely want to see more participation. We want to see more interest, because we want to have a reflection of the world. We want to be inclusive. We want to be diverse. I think a couple of years ago, I got to attend a Grace Hopper conference here in Seattle, and like the statistic that I cannot forget is that the population between men and women is 50%, and that's not even, we're not even close to achieving that in tech, and that's just amazing. That's just like, it's just wrong. It's unbelievable, and that's something that we try to do as devices, is be more diverse and more inclusive of our employees, and that's one of the goals that we're trying to do. So please post an introduction, post a short little about me, and I hope to see you in the LinkedIn group. I think we can move on. Yeah, I'll keep the slide up just so you have the reference. We'll go into the quick activity that I have. So let me explain it a little bit. So the goal is to have somebody or a volunteer that is willing to share their elevator pitch over Zoom. Everybody will hear you, but I think it'll be good to have some of your fellow members. Here's some pointers for you to get some feedback. It is live, so it might be a little bit sucky, but I think it'll be very valuable. And I am totally willing to do it first if nobody wants to volunteer.
I'll do it.
Awesome. We have a volunteer.
Okay. How much time would you like me to set for this?
The elevator pitch should be 30 to 45 seconds.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Dudek. I am a sophomore studying mechanical engineering and sustainability at Arizona State University. I have a background in robotics, and I'm really fascinated in those small mechanical systems. And I also have a background kind of looking into space technology. I like exploring what's out there, the great unknown. And that's put me on different places. So I'm on the executive board of the Sun Devil Satellite Laboratory here, and I'm also part of the ASU Robotics Club. I've been working in customer service for about the past 2 years on campus in university housing. I'm a community assistant this year, as you could tell by my polo I'm wearing. And I really enjoy in my free time just going outside and really taking in the environment. And that's why I'm studying sustainability with mechanical engineering, because I really want to somehow put those two together and make sustainable technology that can help improve the quality of living on Earth.
I thought that was great. Yeah, you gave you talked to your achievements and your accomplishments with the groups that you're a part of. You showed your interests. You gave a little bit about yourself. I think the only thing that I would have liked to hear, and I know that maybe it depends on the audience, like if you were at a career fair type thing, is like what kind of positions you're looking for, or if you're specifically seeking something. But otherwise, like that was really great, and good job for thinking on the spot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was great. I feel like Arlene definitely hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I was gonna say. You want to come back and you have great examples of how you're a leader, how you're taking initiative, how you're doing a lot of stuff. You're able to handle schoolwork and all these other extracurricular activities. But the main question is, why are you here talking to me? And it's because I'm looking for an internship in mechanical engineering, at the most high level. But if you're looking for a specific thing, even go beyond that. But that was great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and maybe one more thing too is like a quick plug to like why Microsoft too. Like what about the company itself, not just the role, but the company, the greater company attracts you. It just kind of shows that you've done your research and that you've thought a little bit deeper about it too.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, that was great. Who's the next victim? I mean, volunteer. Nobody?
I can go.
Yes.
Everyone, my name is Elizabeth Jones. I'm a senior studying electrical engineering, and I actually just started my first year of the 4+1 program. So I'm specializing in communications and signal processing. With that, I've had 2 systems engineering positions interning with Northrop Grumman and over the last 2 years. And so I'm really looking to work in the aerospace and defense industry. So I'm really excited to pursue that. I'm a space nerd all the way around. So my capstone project is now through NASA. So I'm working on the NASA Psyche project to develop a rover to navigate their proposed surfaces. And in my free time, I'm involved way too much on campus. So I'm in a variety of student organizations. Most notably, I am the section president for SWE this year. And I really take the point to make a advocacy for diversity and inclusion within engineering.
Wow, awesome job.
Microsoft related. I'm a huge aerospace defense, but I wanted to just throw it out there.
That was so impressive.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. I think again, similar notes. You definitely had your personality shine through on that one. You hit the points of your resume again, hit what you were interested in. So like really great job. It's not like you guys practice these or something. These are like phenomenal.
Glad to see the career workshop last week. The career prep workshop worked out well for us.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say. I thought that was really good. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
So as a interested in space, was there anything that you were looking to get out of coming to Microsoft today?
I was really just looking for some of those tips and tricks. I'm actually really helpful, exciting. I'm sorry, now I can't talk anymore. I was just looking for some of those tips. So I was excited that we're kind of doing the elevator pitch workshop. Plus, I just kind of like networking on behalf of SWE and getting that interaction and FaceTime with kind of our corporate sponsors. So just wanted to kind of be here and help facilitate for future conversations. And if anybody missed a meeting, I can kind of help answer those questions.
No, very good.
Yeah, and I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning, but thank you so much for hosting us. Part of the goal that Taylor and I have is establishing Microsoft devices as a presence on ASU campuses. Before, I know we would go and we would kind of host a table here and there, but we wanted what our goal is. I don't know if I said that right. Our goal is to show up in the spring and people already know what we're looking for, what are the different positions, and what how do you get there? And that's what we're really trying to do over the fall, is establish ourselves as a presence on campus.
Yeah, I would love to see more Sun Devils around Microsoft.
Yeah.
We have a few, but I'd love to see more.
Anyone else? I'm trying to look for the time, but both of my computers are busy.
We've got
It's 6:37.
47. Okay, at 50 we can stop, but I think we need one more example.
I will go, but this is my first ever elevator pitch, so precursor.
yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Peterson. I am a sophomore studying electrical engineering with an interest in computer hardware design. So I am very thankful for this opportunity with Microsoft. Currently, I am a secretary for SWE, as well as a logistics director for Fulton Ambassadors. So both of those opportunities give me a good chance to network and communicate with other people, which I love doing. And yeah. I forget what else to put in there, but that's it.
Awesome. I actually stalked you on LinkedIn, and I saw that you are connected with Kaylee. Is that through the Engineering Tutoring Center?
That is mainly through Fulton Ambassadors, but yes.
Okay.
She switched over from the tutoring center, and she now does like recruitment efforts and is working with Fulton Ambassadors.
Okay, very cool. She's awesome.
From the tutoring center.
Yeah, if you see her, tell her that I said hi. I worked for her when I was a student there, so she's awesome.
Kaylee's really cool.
Yeah,
And I was also a Fulton ambassador, so I got to work with Kaylee, Arturo, and Kaylee.
Cool.
Art was the recruiting guy before Kaylee.
so cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. You know, I think you can kind of tell you're on the younger side, you know. But I think you use very good examples of somebody, you know, who's I think either a freshman or a sophomore, I'm not sure, of how, you know, you're already taking initiative to be a part of these different organizations. I think the only piece of advice I have is, you know, you mentioned that you really enjoy like computer design,
Mhm.
computer. Talk more about that. Talk about how that's your passion. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience, but you know, that could be, you know, maybe you built a PC, maybe you took something apart, you know, something as simple as that.
I can talk a little bit more about
Yeah,
that.
please go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually got the opportunity to build my first PC when I was like 14, and I really enjoyed doing that. I really enjoyed putting all the pieces together, and like I was really curious about how they worked, and yeah, I just thought it would be like really cool to get to design like one of the parts that I would like put in like a really powerful desktop. And I still have it to this day. It's currently at my parents' house, but I'm like on the edge of bringing it to up to campus with me, just because it is a lot more powerful than my laptop.
Mhm.
Besides that, I did robotics in high school. I was the vice president of my robotics team, which was a part of first robotics competition my senior year of high school. And then when I got to ASU my freshman year, I participated in the underwater robotics team on the Tempe campus. And I learned a lot of things there about like basic circuit schematics and how to use like LT Spice and stuff like that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I thought that was great too. I think the fact that you're a sophomore and you already have all of those examples, definitely use those, because for someone so early in their degree, that's, you know, really impressive. And it also does show that you have a sense of direction, and the fact that you already said hardware design and you knew that, like I personally did not know what I wanted to do, you know, all the way up until honestly I graduated. So I think you know what you want, and if you approach, you know, Microsoft and you had the opportunity to look into certain positions, like maybe doing like one line call out of like why a certain position is attractive to you, because you definitely have, you know, so much of the you know, experience already even as a sophomore. So I thought that was super impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, you made it personal. Like, you know, as a recruiter, like, I would think, you know, this person was only 14 years old and they built a PC. Like, that's awesome. Of course, I'm going to remember Claire. So making it personal, making the recruiter remember you, your face, is the number one goal of an elevator pitch. Just like we were interested in more about hearing, how you became passionate about computer architecture, or I feel like I keep messing that up. But like, that helped us, ask you more questions, interrogate you a little bit more to see if you're a fit at Microsoft.
Yeah, and I think like what Sam just said, if you know kind of what you're going after, or you have your passion, if you share your why, that's what makes it really connect. And what, it kind of brings full circle, that storytelling element, and is what, makes you easily remembered, is when you can kind of share that next level insight into how you are, who you are.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, I think we have about 10 minutes left. We can move into a Q&A unless anybody else wants to go. Arlene and I are happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, also, Sam, just so you know, we've got about 17 minutes left. We're at the 43, but yeah, it's still totally fine with me.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
So what does it look like? Do we want to do more elevator pitches? Do we want to move into Q&A? This is your workshop now. I'll do something really fast. I'll try to remember the elevator pitch that I used to talk to Microsoft. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys should give your elevator pitches. That'd be interesting.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember because this was 2 years ago, and 2 years ago doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. So I would say I would go up to recruiter and say, good morning. My name is Sam Perez. I'm a junior in electrical engineering. I'm looking for an internship in hardware. I especially, have always loved Xbox. So Microsoft is a perfect fit because when I was younger, I actually took apart a power supply from my Xbox because it got the red ring of death. And for some reason, I thought if I didn't plug it in, I wouldn't know how it works. So I ended up shorting one of the big capacitors to a heatsink and just, shorted the entire top of my house. And, I'm here today talking to you because I didn't die. So I was wondering if you have any internship opportunities for the summer, and that's how I would kind of end it.
Wow, that's good.
I never like the part that you didn't die.
And that's how I'm here talking to you today.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Definitely memorable. I never gave an elevator pitch to Microsoft. And I think like at the time I was trying to get exposure to a position outside of engineering. So I don't know if it's entirely relevant. So I don't know if you guys would want to hear mine, but if we want, we can, if there's anybody else that wants to share theirs, we can do that. Or do we want to go to questions? However you guys want to do it.
I'd be interested in hearing your pitch, but then we can move to questions. How about that?
Sure. Okay, so mine was something like, I'm an electrical engineer. I have been a tutor at the ASU tutoring center for 2 of my 4 years. I interned at Intel for a summer where I was a test engineer. That's kind of when I figured out that I didn't love being in the lab, isolated. So my next co-op also with Intel was more on the supply chain side. That's when I realized I liked the customer facing aspect of the role while also still utilizing my 4-year degree. And so I'm looking for positions in, a technical sales type of role. And that was kind of what I gave to Texas Instruments, which was my first job out of college. So it was something kind of like that.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Arlene and Sam?
I was just going to ask, what made you switch from Texas Instruments to Microsoft?
So actually Microsoft was my customer when I was at Texas Instruments. So I was there working as a sales engineer. So working with a lot of the engineers on Xbox Surface, like a lot of the same people that I work with now. And then I was actually approached by a sourcing, my sourcing director who I'd, done a couple of supplier customer conferences with, and she asked me if I'd be interested, and at the time I wasn't entirely looking, but like it was Microsoft, so I was like absolutely, and I just really liked the job, the people, and so I made the switch. So been pretty much up in the Seattle area, and even though I've only been at Microsoft for around 8 months, like it feels like longer kind of, because I know I'm still working with a lot of the same people, doing some of the same things, although learning, there is a huge new part of the job, obviously, that I've had to learn and am still learning, so.
I actually have a question. Like, what is your experience with working like during COVID? Like you've had to learn all this, virtually. How does that compare to when you started at Texas Instrument?
Yeah, I think it was way better than I thought. I've been able to find people to ask questions like over Teams, been able to get a hold of people. I've still been able to completely do my pretty much entire job function virtual. I think the only thing that I'm really missing, and honestly, it's only really been hitting me lately, like the last like month, is kind of just like that relationship capital piece of it. I luckily had some of it built up from my previous role where I, got to work with these people and they know me, but it's like just those like, honestly, like hallway conversations or those types of interactions where it's hard to have those over Teams, like maybe 5 minutes in the beginning of a meeting or something like that. And I feel like that's where you really get to know people better and they get to know you better. And it kind of facilitates a more efficient working environment when you just get to know somebody and you can be like, hey, can I get this, blah, 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 because you're more casual with them. But I'd say outside of that, like I honestly did not really notice a difference, which was not what I expected. So pleasantly surprised.
Okay, I have a question. I'm curious what you think the workplace environment is like at your respective roles, and what is your impression of, for example, like your managers or your colleagues on the whole?
I could start. I think the work environment, COVID has changed it a little bit, but the work environment is awesome. Like when we say like growth mindset, it's truly growth mindset. You can ask any questions. You can go to your manager and talk about professional development. You can talk about technical development. Your manager is a mentor. They just can help you move further along with what you want to do, whether that's a technical role, whether you want to move, whether you're not even interested in, like, I guess not even interested, that's a bad word, but whether if you realize 6 months into your job that maybe you want to do something else, your manager is there to support you and get you those skills that you need to move into the role that you picture yourself in. At Microsoft, they don't want you to leave the company. It's fine if you move within the company, but they want you to, they don't want you to leave because you're such a valuable asset, that they rather you move teams than move out of the company. There's resources outside of your manager, LinkedIn Learning. There's Culture of Learning where engineers get together and they talk about subjects that, well, for EEs, it's like they talk about DRAM. How does the memory work in the new Xbox? How does quantum computing work? Just to keep engineers, hungry and eager to learn more and more about what we do across Microsoft.
Yeah, I can go ahead and add to that. I totally agree with everything you said. I think I was so surprised by the level of transparency that there is at this company for how big it is, and not just how big it is, but how big the groups are. Like if you are an engineer, you'll have your team. Like if you're on Xbox as an EE, you'll have your Xbox motherboard team. but even off within that, you're broken out into, you know, the power or whatever your specialty is. Then you've got the greater Xbox engineering team. And so you're a part of all these like little groups, and obviously your closest group, you really do get to know these people so well. You work with them so often. And then even at like the larger groups or even executive type levels, there's just this feeling of like, you know, like I said, transparency. They are very open with where the company's headed. I remember like I came here and there were these videos online talking about like your pay and what you can expect and like what kinds of conversations to have and like what looks good, what is good pay, like how are you measuring up against your peers, those types of conversations that are just like open and out there. And I was really, really impressed. And it's part of Microsoft's, you know, like inclusivity. They want to make everyone, especially people that maybe come from backgrounds where their parents weren't career parents or something like that. They want to give every employee the opportunity to have those conversations, to ask questions, to feel welcomed in. And like, I just felt that right off the bat. I had a little bit of career experience, very limited, but I really feel like I could go to my boss and ask her anything, which I think is so important to have, especially early in career. And I guess just like a quick note, like I guess I wish I'd given myself this advice when I was, you know, first starting or looking for internships, is like, don't be afraid. They're really, the more questions you ask, it doesn't make you look like you don't know what you're talking about. It makes you look like you care and like you've got curiosity. So like speak up. And Microsoft, you know, encourages that, and you will get answers to your questions, even the ones that you think maybe, you know, maybe you wouldn't and even at my previous role, there were questions that you wouldn't really get answers to or kind of get like the runaround. And Microsoft is really, really good about answering the questions that you might have. So that's kind of how I felt about the culture.
Yeah, I always tell people the culture is what made me come back to Microsoft. Before at Microsoft, my previous internship was doing software at Intel. And it's weird because Intel's a hardware company, but I was doing software, and then Microsoft is a software company. I was doing hardware. But you know, the culture difference was just what like really brought me back to Microsoft. It's really all about your growth. Yeah, no matter what, your manager's manager, everybody wants to see their teams grow and move into leadership roles.
Yeah, and you're in, you know, depending on where you would go, but you're in hardware, like consumer devices. So it is fast paced. And because of that, like if you go to your manager and you say, I want to learn or I want to accelerate, like they will push you, but 100% they're going to be there like along the way with you. They're not going to put you in front of an opportunity or a position where you're not prepared for it. But whatever your goals are, they will, you know, set up a plan with you, like step by step. Here's how I see your path to get there. Does this sound good? And then you kind of work from there.
That's awesome. Especially since I love how they're so transparent about pay and stuff like that. I think truly, like, as someone that, at least I know people that like don't come from backgrounds where like career and salary is discussed as much, or just like aren't part of those circles. It can be really difficult to like move into a job and figure out what all that terminology is. Yeah. I definitely struggle with that. So I think that's amazing that that's like made transparent. That's
yeah,
awesome.
I thought so too. And especially as like, you know, women occasionally too are sometimes less apt to speak up, or, you know, talking about that pay gap is kind of how you close that pay gap. So that's like, I think Microsoft, someone said that's the corporate's best kept secret is, you know, don't talk about your pay, because, you know, when you do, you kind of open up, you can tell if there are disparities. And so I also thought that was just like amazing also. Like I couldn't believe that.
I have a question about what kind of like learning opportunities there are. You mentioned how you can just talk to your manager and they'll help you like along the way and help push you. I'm curious if there's also like education assistance if you want to go like get an MBA or a graduate degree to like help you in your work.
Yeah, I know that there is. I can't remember what the amount is, but that is something that absolutely like you can go and do, and Microsoft will support you if you're talking about furthering your education through university. It does need manager approval, but I know a couple people already that have done something like that, so definitely have heard about that. I also think they've got all of these, Sam mentioned trainings, like just the ones taught by peers that you'll see like pop up on your calendars, and those are awesome. But they also have like different courses that you can sign up if there are different certifications or things like that that Microsoft will pay for you to go and get. It's literally just building the business case. If it's there, like they will help you do it.
Yeah, and I was doing this. It's 10,000. I think 10,000 a year that they'll reimburse.
Yeah.
Some of it. One of the cool things is, you know, when you work at Microsoft, when you get experience in a tech company, that really helps you on college applications. Like in my first year I was here, I had a coworker and I was working with an EE who were both going to Stanford. And I feel like, you know, have it for their master's in electrical engineering. And I feel like having Microsoft on the resume really helped them get in. You get the tuition assistance. You also, you know, there's all these, I'm trying to think of an example, but there's a company called Mindshare where they, as EEs, they go over, you know, what is PCIe protocol? You know, what is the difference between different generations? What is SATA? What is, you know, memory? How does memory work? DDR4 versus DDR3, and like, you know, these are thousands of dollars. Each course is like thousands of dollars, and like your managers will pay for you to gain that knowledge too. Like that's one of the courses I took when I first got into Microsoft, partly because I was, you know, a college hire. Most of my team came from industry. You know, my manager knew that there might be some gaps there. So even if I knew that knowledge or not, they provided me that resource to you know, just catch up on anything that I might not have known.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and just so you know, Sam, I think we've got like 2-3 minutes left, since I don't know if you have a clock.
Wow, I'm not supposed to get these meeting invites. Okay. No, that's all I had. I think the words I'll leave you with is, do not hesitate to reach out if you have any other questions. Again, please join the LinkedIn group. Please make a post. Whether you're, you know, the positions are EE and ME, but that again, like you're seeing with Arlene and my roles, just because you're looking for a specific major doesn't mean you fit exactly into electrical and mechanical design. Sorry, you can fit into other positions like product engineer, like design for assembly, sourcing, crew. Also a lot of smart engineers on those teams. So do not be afraid to apply. You know, I just encourage you to apply at Microsoft, and we really hope to see you there.
Yeah, likewise. And if you have any questions about any of the roles too, especially the ones like that he mentioned that maybe aren't directly where your mind would go with the major that you have, definitely reach out, because there are so many cool opportunities that I didn't really think about just in the product life cycle, that we need and exist. And so I think it's an awesome opportunity, and you guys all seem so bright and eager, and that's just so awesome, and it's exactly the kind of people we want at Microsoft. So I'm really happy we got to be here, and I got to meet and talk with some of you. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you for coming, Arlene and Sam. Okay,
Thank you
virtual
for
round
having
of
us.
applause.
Thank
We
you
really
guys.
appreciate you coming in.
One last thing. If anybody wants to take or have a picture for LinkedIn, I could take a screenshot and send it. There is not enough light in this room though. It's really dark. Okay, so if anybody doesn't want to be on camera, feel free to turn it off. If anybody, you know, has their camera off and wants to be in the picture, I'll send it over to your professional development team right after this meeting. Oh, but I have to take a screenshot. How do I do that? Give me 1 second. Because it's called Snip and Sketch now. It's not Snipping Tool.
May it help if you stop sharing your screen so we can get like a bigger grid view of everybody?
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, it's because I was sharing the wrong screen. Okay, let me share this screen. I'm just making things more complicated. Okay, how do I go back to the Zoom meeting? Give me a second. Wrong screen. Okay, this is not easy. I think I did this. Oh, there we go. Okay, share screen. This will stop others. Yes.
I
Screen
think
one.
that fixed it.
You're gonna show you. You're gonna see yourselves. I hope. Okay, and then this is what I did the other day. Oh, I'm not showing the correct one. I'll just do this, and then I'll show the grid, and then present. Give me a second. I'm getting some warning. Security warning. How about this? This does that work? Maybe a better one.
Can you still see all of the faces?
Oh, am I only sharing? I can see all the faces.
Okay. I can't, so I was just making sure you can.
Okay, give me. I'm trying to go back. Okay, I'm close. We're close, I promise.
Trust the process.
Yeah. Where can I find a good? This sucks. Oh, now I'm on the cloud slides. I don't want to show their stuff. Okay, I think this might work. Working at Microsoft. Your place at Microsoft. Okay, let me make sure nobody's cropped out. Oh my God, I went back to the small view. I'm taking one picture and then I think I got everybody. All right, I'm doing it. Smile in 3, 2, 1. Okay. I totally messed that up. But can you post pictures in the
Chat?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I'll send it to you to the professional development team.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.